Welcome back to Cure of the Common Game. Today, this is our second deck for Dominaria, Hallar. All right, I'm about to show my age here. Okay, every time I see this guy, I think of the opening riff from Fight for Your Right to Party by the Beastie Boys, because all it is just kick it! Anyway, so he's a 3-mana 3/3, and this guy's got everything that I personally love. He's an elf. He's got trample. He's a 3-mana 3/3 trample. And whenever you play a kick spell, he gets a 1/1 counter and then deals damage to each opponent. So he beefs himself. Now, it's an important note that multi-kicker, you don't get the counter for every time you multi-kicked it. It's just if you cast if it was kicked, you get the counter. So the problem with a deck full of 40 kicker cards, which is what we'll get into that in a minute, is we're going to need something to play it with. So we got a little bit of ramp here. We'll go through pretty quick because all these are pretty standard. The Fire Diamond, the Moss Diamond, got the Sisay's Ring, Gilded Lotus. I am so glad that Gilded Lotus is in this set. And it's in a pre-con. That Chandra deck at all my local game stores have sold out because the Chandra Planeswalker deck has a Gilded Lotus. I may have had something to do with telling everybody that. But anyway, Power Stone Shard. It's your typical Gruul mana rocks. It's just there's a ton of them. And this is one I don't really use a lot. The Stone Calendar. I like Stone Calendar a lot better than the Helm of Awakening, I think it is. All spells cost one less. Because this is just your spells. And it even hits your artifacts and whatnot, your X spells. But the initial investment of 5 mana for a rock that doesn't really do anything when it hits the board. But I like it. Pristine Talisman, and of course our Mind Stone. Now, got 40 kicker cards. I think we will probably do them last. I've got a little bit of non-artifact ramp with Rampant Growth, Harrow, and the Quirion Elves. Obviously, we're choosing red. But Hardened Scales has to play a role. It just really does, because this way, every time you kick a spell, you get 2 counters, and he deals that much damage. So you can actually go both ways. You can just kick out the entire table. Is that what we're calling it? Yeah. Hala kicks people out. So, or you can, play with creatures and swing with them. Albeit we don't have a whole lot of creatures because it's about half spells, half creatures. Love this Druid. Of course, y'all know me. I love some elves, but an elf that taps to add a green mana, or it taps to add 2 green mana to play kickers. Man, that's sweet. And of course, we're playing with an elf, so we got to play with a goblin because that makes a lot of sense. He's in there mainly because he's new. If he probably wasn't in Dominaria, I probably would not be playing with him because the bonus is just till end of turn, and it's Menace, and those are pretty much the only 2 creatures in the deck that don't have kicker. Now, I got I guess this is more ramp here. Zendikar Resurgent, because double mana and play a dude, draw cards seems really good. And since we are ramping up so much to pay for all these kicker costs, we're going to have the 7 mana to play for this Resurgent. Now, I was almost done with the deck. I had, and this just makes me sad for myself. I had 1 slot left, and I realized that it doesn't matter how you put the counters on him. You get the counters on him first and then play a kicker spell. So increasing Savagery, putting 5 counters and then putting 10 counters on it, this gets ridiculous quick. It's like a storm counter, if you will. You see what I did there? Anyway, Earthen Arms is kind of a weakened down version of it. I mean, it's 2 mana for two counters, so that's not bad. I'm using Gaia's Blessing to shuffle anything I might want back, and it does draw a card. I love Gaia's Blessing. It's not. If it didn't have that last line, I probably wouldn't be playing with it. But mill is pretty dominant, especially in the local meta around here. We've got a couple guys, Danny, Mark, who love that first turn Alter the Brood or Alter Dementia. They love to mill you out. Well, I say mill you out. They don't even, because nothing puts people on tilt like milling. And it's, oh, I could have had that. It doesn't matter. You don't. But anyway, I've got Chain Reaction as my red Damnation or Wrath of God, whatever. Kills most things. And, of course, Hurricane to clear the skies. Now, let's get into some kicker creatures, or some kicker spells. We got Fight with Fire. I love that. I can't remember what the card was where Chandra says, of course you fight fire with fire. You should fight everything with fire. But Shivan Fire this is almost a better shock. Now, shock hits creature or player, and this just hits a creature. But most of the time, let's face it, you're not throwing shocks at somebody's face anyway. I like Shivan Fire. 1 for 2 or 5 for 4. In some of those weaker 60 card formats, yeah, they may say this suck, but we got mana. Our games go long. Wild Onslaught. Here's another, put counters on your team. If you kicked it, put 2 counters on your team. Grow from the Ashes. This is a rampant growth with kicker. So and keep in mind, every time we're casting one of these, our general is getting a counter and dealing damage every single time. So with 40, hold on, let me clean this up. This is, I must have bumped it or something, and I'm getting all out of focus and junk. Explosive growth. Now this Invasion introduced the kicker mechanic. Now granted, this is a little expensive, but for 6 mana, you get 5/5 till end of turn, and you're probably murking somebody with it. Savage Offensive. Your team gets first strike. That's not bad. I mean, especially, it's a cheap card and it has a cheap kicker. Vines of Vastwood, which is pretty close to the green counterspell. Love it. Hunting Wilds. Now, no, that's not this deck. That's a different deck. I'm telling you, getting old. Primal Growth, another rampant growth with kicker. Except, you get 2 lands when you kick it. That's fine. Canopy Surge. Breath of Daragaz. And he's back. He's back from the dead, isn't he? Because I drive a lot and I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I haven't really read the story, but I've been listening to it. And it's I just started today, but I'm telling you, this Dominaria storyline, I'm really liking it. I'm hoping that they do something interesting with our Sir Punch-a-Lot Gideon, because, he needs to do something besides punching people, even though in this set he is shown punching people. Anyway, Comet Storm. Obviously a great game ender, because we do have a lot of ramp, which we do have. I mean, there's a lot of cool interactions for Comet Storm. Or, you just kick it and get another counter and deal that last. Overload. Yep. This is conditional artifact removal at its finest, or worst, whatever. Anyway. Burst Lightning. A lot of these cards would not make the cut had they not had the kicker ability on there. So I guess you'd call this my tribal kicker deck, or my Beastie Boy deck, or Holla at the Beast. I don't know. the Molten Disaster, Crozen Druid. Now, this one really stands out because, you know, you get 3 mana for a 2/3. Or you can spend 8 mana for a 2/3 and 10 life. I don't know how they got that. How do you have this idea and go, you know, make this card good? 10 life. Here again, 4 mana 4/4, 8 mana 7/7, which is probably what we're going to do. I tried to pick out the low-cost kicker cards, but the problem is, you know, to build a 2-color deck, there's not a lot. So I had to play some suboptimums. To get to Chronicler here, not bad. Maybe that'll get back one of your Untamed Kavu. Now this, there was a version of this card way back that was rare, and it didn't have Vigilance or Trample. It was just a 2 mana 2/2, and it had Kicker 3, and got 3 counters. So it was either a 2 mana 2/2 or 5 mana 5/5. And now, and that was rare, and a chase rare from what I remember. And now, you just tack on Vigilance and Trample and bump it down to uncommon. This is the world we live in. Well, see, back in the day, the creature sucked, but the removal was great. And so we've had to slowly get away from that to make creatures decent and not just dies to everything. So I don't think we'll be seeing Doomblade or Murder anytime soon. Dominaria has a dinosaur. And it kind of doubles as removals. Because, I mean, you know, a 5/5, when a 5/5 fights it, is probably killing most things. Grod. I freaking love Grod. Y'all know that from the box opening videos. I love this guy. I just wish he had some kind of mind control abilities, because then he totally would be Grod. But the ability for him to do 20 damage alone it's hard to ignore. Varric's Blade Wing. Got a kicker. Kicker, get another dragon? Sign me up all day long. Skizzik, another used to be rare, that used to be money, that used to win Pro Tours, or all kinds of... But, you know, it's uncommon now. Keldon Overseer. Torch Slinger. Zendikar now, I guess. The Spider. Y'all know how much I love spiders. Until I actually see one in person. Anyway, never mind. The Ruin Blaster. The Emblazoned Golem does not make me proud. I'm not lying at all, because best case scenario here is he's gonna get 2 counters, you know, or you're gonna, yeah, it's yeah. He'll probably be the cut when I get some. I wish they would make a, you know, all kicker costs 1 less or whatever, but I just don't see that happening because it's added. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, Gnarly Pack. Multi-kicker. Love me some multi-kicker. Everybody loves a kicker 8 on a 1/1, because for 9 mana it becomes a 6/6 trample. You know, back then, that was pretty decent. Now, we just get 6/6 tramples at common for 6 mana all the time, and we call them dinosaurs, and, you know, nobody bats an eye. And they just print them in every set. But anyway, Goblin Bushwhacker, kicker card that is just amazing, and it that haste granting ability to your entire team, pretty sweet. Now, oh, hey, did we forget our general's an elf? Jiraga Warcaller, getting multi-kicked a bunch of times. Yeah, he gets the counters, but you know what? Your other elves do too, so your general's an elf, and you may have a spotty elf or two in the Queering Elves or whatever. You know, if nothing else, this guy's just a big beater. Or you just spend 3 mana to get your general trigger. Skitterer Lizards. There's a pun there, I know it. Deathforge Shaman. Kavu Primarch. Mold Shambler. We got a Sentinel Wood Reader. Now, drawing 2 cards in green, drawing 2 cards for 3 mana. That's as good a rate as you're going to get in green. Yes, it's stapled to a creature, but hey, that's fine. Riftworm, Kicker, and Vanishing. What? Anyway, and our last kicker card. Oh, he's a little slippery guy. Wolfbriar Elemental. This guy has. I think I've won more games on the back of wolves that this guy has made than probably any other token maker. I am telling you, Wolfbriar Elemental is legit. Let's see. Oh yeah. Also, we have an. I feel obligated to point out the Rogue's Passage in the deck because y'all know me and I've got one in every deck. But this is a deck that inadvertently pumps its general. I say inadvertently. We're doing it on purpose, but to pump your general, and even if you can't get off the I'm going to play kicker spells and deal damage aspect, well, we end up incidentally having a large general. So Rogue's Passage kind of fills that gap too. Of course, you know, Rogue's Passage. Anyway, that's what I've got for Hallar and his Kicker Madness. But I do appreciate y'all watching. Y'all let me know what you think. And I think right now we are going to shuffle and cut.